Good afternoon. You're welcome to another edition of our online class. Today, I want to talk about this understanding the working principle. Okay, sorry, I'm using cap lock. Okay, sorry. Principle of energizer. All right. Okay, if we're talking about understanding the working principles of energizer, sorry, what do we mean? It means if installers are able to understand the principles in which energizer operates, it means you should be able to design to understand how your looping should be done in any fence. Now, one thing you should have at the back of your mind, the principle of an energizer is firstly based on, I'll say number one, let's say the loop principle. Okay, when I say the loop principle, it means, or do I use it as a closed loop principle? Now, let me explain this. It's so important to understand that energizers are most times designed, they are always in a closed, should I use the word closed? It's a kind of a closed circuit system, right? And by the time that closed circuit is made open, it triggers the energizer. Now, number one is the loop principle, and number two is we can use the breaching principle. All right. Now, the loop principle is something like this. I have point A. Let's say this is point A, and this is point B. There's a movement from this guy all the way, watch this, all the way to Mr. B. This is kind of the principle electric fence uses. Here, between point A, let's assume these guys, they are married here to here, they're married here. So this guy is sending a signal through this to this other guy here. So by the time your fence is, should I say, if you have anything short of this, where maybe there's an opening here, it means this guy detects it as an open circuit and begins to tell you there's a fault. So you must understand the principle in which the electric fence energizer works in week. So if you're making your loop, I think this to a large extent will help you understand how you can make your loop. Like I said before, I've seen a couple of loops, some kind of loops. The one I saw of recent was something like this. Somebody did this and he got here. Let's say we have this. Let's say there's a barricade here, all right. It has a pole here, and this pole is here, and there's an elevation here. You have the other fence here, all right. And he came here. This one got to the extreme here, and he came here and he was having his loop here. He looped here, and we were carrying them all the way. Let's assume we're having something like this. Now, do you know why I said most of this it is because we don't understand the principle which this electric fence operates. That is why we're still making these mistakes. Now, you should understand that if you see it as a single line traveling all through, let's say we have line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5, and you understand that kind of principle on line 6, let's just assume line 6 for example, then you should now figure it such that you shouldn't be having scenarios where you have to loop like this. I've seen somebody say, okay, if you have this, you can come here, let's assume this guy hits, let's assume, okay, let's say all these are all live, we don't have earth here. Here, this feed this. He will say, okay, this one comes here, and this other guy comes here. There's no loop here. He just come and maybe take this one from here back to the energizer. Trying to explain now, from what you can see here, it's such that it's only saying this, let's say this is A and this is B. It's only trying to tell you that A is coming here all the way to meet this guy. A moves from line 1 to, let's say, 3, 4. A moves from line 1 and is having contact with line 3. And B moves from line 2 and is having contact with line 4. It is not just contact alone. You must understand this. You must understand it's not just having that contact. It is having a closed loop system, just like we have here. These guys, they are married here. This is, let's assume this is the energizer. Inside the energizer, these guys are married. This guy needs to travel to complete this guy. He needs to send a signal to this guy for the energizer to say, yes, I am fine. But anything short of this, you see you having challenge. That's why some persons, when they do their looping, you see when they've done a very wrong looping, they now come under the energizer here. You see, some of them having just 2 cables feeding your electric fence. Any electric fence you see having just 2 cables, one from the live, one from the earth, automatically you know that fence is an error. You get that? Immediately you see fence that is fed with just 2 cables. It is wrong because you must have the entity C, which is your earth. Let's assume this is our earth, because our earth, let's say D, because earth, they are looped under the energizer, so you can take one to complete these guys. That is where the principle of the breaching principle comes in. Because now they now see it such that by the time this guy, now you see A, if A travels all the way to B, and for any reason this A or this B touches C, this cable coming from C didn't loop together, it means it will cause the energizer alarm to go off, which is the second principle, the breaching simple principle. But the area of the loop principle, this is one principle I feel most installers, they've totally taken their mind off. They are not aware of it. They just feel, okay, by the time I get to the, let's assume this is my energizer, all right? Let's assume we have our energizer here. Okay. Let's assume here, let's say this is our A, which is live out. This is our B, is live return. These are C, which is earth out. These are D, earth return. All right. Now, this A is this is the B here, and this here I've told you can have this looped here, which is not a problem. So if you want to take cable from these things, from this energizer to the fence, the minimum you should be having is 3 cables, right? Your HT cable coming from this energizer must be minimum of 3. Yeah, sometimes you want to have 4. If you decide to remove this loop and take one from here, and one from here, then take another one from here, another one from here. So you have 2 live feeding the fence and 2 earth feeding the fence. But most times, what I always do, I always prefer, let's have this loop, and let's just have our earth to the fence so that we can earth it somewhere around the compound. So now from this very point, it means this A needs to travel and return to B to have this kind of, let's assume this is the line. I'll draw it in another format. Let's assume this line moves. This is line 1. It enters another line. It goes another line. Let's assume we're having the 6th line. It means we're having Earth at the middle here, right? Earth at the middle here, and this one comes all the way to this energizer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the principle. I'm looking for a way just to try break it down so that you understand what we're actually talking about. There's even somebody who said that, yes, I understood how this thing works, but yet he did the loop and he got somewhere. There was a place he was also having a kind of parallel connection, but he didn't take note of that. You should be very, concerned about having every of your connection in series only. In series only. So here, from what you can see, like I drew here, it's just like this. It's just like this line going, feeding everywhere. It's just one direction. One direction. There's no bridge elsewhere. Maybe bridge, have a bridge or a connection going somewhere else, right? This one back to the energizer. So it's something you're also having like this too. No, sorry. Return here. Okay. And back to the energizer. Why this guy can have just one feeding this, and you can also link this one. This can be parallel. The earth can be parallel. So that is what we're talking about. So the first principle, which is the loop principle, is this. Which your energizer operates your energizer operates on is this first principle, the loop principle, which is this: having this cable going all the way in just one direction, so that as at any point, if I come here, open these circuits, it means the energizer, which is this, senses this as a fault, and the alarm will go off immediately. All right. So it will also show you that if, let's assume this place is closed here and this place is open here, it shows that this energizer has been opened. But let me show you one other example different from that. Now, some persons, they will come, you have some other kind of branch. This is why it's going, which is the parallel. If I have anything outside this and it's coming this way, maybe to hit anything, maybe to connect this one, to connect another line like this again, link this one, then it means if anybody comes here and break any of this line, for example, it doesn't stop this other flow from to the other fence. Let me come here, let me do that here. Let's assume we're having this, okay, do I use, how many lines? Let's assume, okay, let me wipe this one off. Let me explain that. Okay, let's have this all the way. And I come here. I have this other one here. I tap, that's a tap like this is, let's assume this is earth is here. Line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. And I have this here. 5 and 6. Okay. Is that clear? Let me expand it a bit so that you can see it clearer. Let's assume, okay, this is line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. Then we have our 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Okay, now we're having, look at this. You see, we are having somewhere like a 6 line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, because here I've made a parallel loop here, it means if this thing travel all the way from here, it can go here, it can go here, it can go here, it can stop here, it can also go here, it can go here, it can go here, it can go here, and it shows the fence is closed, right? You see it as a closed fence, like the fence here, they've looped it. But I'll tell you something, if somebody comes here, cut this line here, it means nothing happens to this fence, to this energizer. It still senses it as a complete circuit. So these are the things I want us to understand. Always make sure you eliminate anything that will make you have them in parallel. Then for the breaching principle, that's what majority of the installers, they know. Yes, this is what I'll tell you for free. This is what most installers understand. They just feel electric fence is when the live touches the neutral, the alarm goes up, and that is what they've been programmed to understand. And that's a wrong notion. That's a wrong notion. Because there are ways I can decide to break into a fence and decide not to allow my live touch with the earth, and I'll be able to penetrate into that house. Because most of them, they come here, when they do that principle, having just 2 lines, they now come to the energizer here, they loop here, take one from here. Let me make it clearer, sorry. Okay. The loop here, you see this? The loop here, the earth, the loop, the light. Take one from here, service all the lines. Okay, let's assume it's for your earth is here, your earth is here. So this one, most of you don't take it back to the Energizer, you just end it here, because you now take one from this and take that to the earth. They will tell you by the time you cut this line, it will fall on this, and by the time it touches this one, the alarm goes off. That's a very wrong, it's a very wrong way and not a smart way of thinking. Because at the end of the day, you are making your, should I say, your customer, your client, you are exposing them. Because the breaching principle is, should I say, is the number 2 principle after the, but this is the most important. If you're looking at the breaching principle, I think to a large extent, it shouldn't be for smart, for human beings who are smart. It is because majority people, they don't know how these things work. I know by the time people, they start understanding how it works. If you are the kind of energizer that is still working with this principle, you put yourself in problem. You run into problem one day. Because by the time people understand, yes, this is what the principle your energizer works with, then they try, it's just only this that you have, then it's a matter of breaching this. But this one, nobody can breach this principle. Nobody can, you cannot, if any fence is done this way, you can't escape this. If it's done this way, this one, you cannot escape it. But this one, you can escape this. It's just the, should I say, the second, should I say, like a backup plan thing, you understand? In case this one, that, maybe something just touch it, you just want to play with the fence, you want to put close your wires together. You know, that's why they did this for electric fence. Let me tell you something. You see, somebody say, okay, fine, I don't want to cut the fence line. You get? Let me show you something. This is line 1. Let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and you have life, earth, life, earth, life. Now, you see, the guys who actually came up with the Energizer thing, these guys, they are smart. They've thought of so many things. The way people try to say, okay, they want to breach security. Now, you might get some persons. That's why you have, most times, there's a standard where you fix your bracket so that they are not too far apart. Somebody who wants to, let's say, wants to penetrate into this area, say, this place is high. If I decide to get a blanket and throw a blanket over your fence and try to squeeze the wires, I hope you get. You squeeze it. If I put a blanket here, try to squeeze this wire, it means I'll get something, you have something like this. Right? So I should be able to draw the wave, the form, so I understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, now, you see, this would have been the initial height of your electric fence. Let's say this is the height. Now, somebody who has put a blanket here to squeeze it, at the end of the day, you have these wires tangle together, ring together, they are close apart, so you feel there's a space. So the principle of loop here can be eliminated if they decide to use this, but because you have a backup plan, which is the breaching principle, immediately this stuff comes together. Like I said earlier, your CD, if by any means the CD touches AB from that illustration, it means the alarm goes. That is why this one is a backup plan to avoid this. So if you're having this stretch and a blanket is thrown over it to squeeze the wires just to bring the level for them to scale, immediately this one, this live, let's say this live 1 touches 2, the alarm goes off. And let's say this one bottom, this live bottom touches this edge here, alarm goes off. Or this live touches this edge, alarm goes off. Or this live touches this edge, the alarm goes off immediately. So you can see the design of an energizer, the principle in which these guys they've come to a point to understand, yes, these are the ways criminals want to operate. Okay, I don't want to cut it. Let me bring the wires together. So bringing the wires together automatically By the time you put them together, alarm also goes, it will go off automatically. So these are the things you as an installer, even a final user, you must understand. This you must consider when fixing an energizer. Always consider these principles. Always consider the number one, the loop principle, and the number two, the breaching principle. So breaching is as if you're closing two wires together, maybe the live and the earth. By the time you have that, it means your alarm goes off immediately. So please always watch out for stuff like this while you're having your installation. I hope this class is quite clear and you understand what we're trying to put out there. Please share this video massively. Let everyone, let them see it, let people see it, and by the time they get to know about this, they will need to adjust. Share. We still have a lot of people still. I still get a lot of calls. They still ask most of these questions. But by the time you share, you're doing us a great good, helping to propagate this message. Till we meet again in our next class. Do have a lovely week. Bye for now.